Hey guys, welcome to the first video of Falcon's Biology. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the transformation of atmospheric nitrogen into essentially the human being or the plant. So we start off by looking at atmospheric nitrogen, as I mentioned. This is two nitrogen atoms bonded together, and this bond is so strong that it makes this molecule inert, which means that it does not react with anything. So even though 80% of the atmosphere is made out of nitrogen, or dinitrogen, these two nitrogen atoms, which you breathe in is essentially, you just breathe it right back out. So it does not have any reaction, no reaction occurs in the body. Two ways or three ways that nitrogen becomes plants and ultimately end up in the human body is by dissolving nitrogen into the soil, by a dead organism that dies and decays and is decomposed on the surface of the soil, and also by lightning. So let's look at the first step of transforming atmospheric nitrogen into a useful form of nitrogen. So we call this nitrogen fixation. So as I mentioned before, nitrogen fixation can occur through dissolving nitrogen in the soil or lightning. Now the third way is decaying matter. But either way, whatever the form is, with the exception of lightning, atmospheric nitrogen is converted into what's called ammonium. So N2 will be transformed into NH4. This is called ammonification. Okay, and this is done by the breakdown of dead organic material or by the dissolving of the soil, the nitrogen into the soil. And so at this stage, you have a specific species of bacteria that will consume the nitrogen from the atmosphere and turn it into ammonium. Okay, now in our next step, we are transforming ammonium into nitrite and nitrate. Okay, this process of transforming ammonium into these two other molecules, the two smaller molecules, is called nitrification, which is the process of converting ammonium into nitrite and nitrate. And just like before, there's a specific species of bacteria that transforms the nitrogen from one to the other. Now, once you have that next step of nitrate, then we have a form of nitrogen that is usable and can be taken up by plants. And just like before, again, bacteria is leading this process. Now, when the plant takes up that nitrogen, okay, this is where the organism, a cow or a horse or a human, can then consume this nitrogen, and then it becomes part of the DNA, muscle tissue, hair tissue, nails, and what have you. And as I mentioned before, there's another way, lightning. Lightning has the energy to just completely bypass the different steps that bacteria drive and just transforms atmospheric nitrogen into practically an immediate fertilizer that can be taken up by plants. And so here I have a short little video of just showing roots growing into the soil. Now, the roots into the soil, they have a very important relationship with the bacteria in the soil because the bacteria actually drive the growth of the plant. So the bacteria, as I mentioned before, is doing all those steps of transforming atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogen that the plant can use to basically build itself a stem, additional roots. This is very much a bacteria-driven process. And that plant, as you're seeing it grow and develop and increase in size, that is nitrogen in combination with carbon dioxide and water. All those different compounds that are coming together, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and water, are the building blocks of that plant as it continues to grow additional roots and stems and leaves, flowers, and what have you. And so, as I mentioned also in class, in the desert, when you have these lightning storms and rainstorms, there is almost an immediate transformation in the desert. And that plants, these flowers that you see sprouting or coming out, blooming, are nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and water that are combining to build additional material to increase the size of the plant or produce the nectar that they produce to attract pollinators.